this will be a pretty quick review because I didn't particularly care for this film. Well, I don't know if I didn't care for it or I'm unsure how to feel. This was a documentary by Jean-Stéphane Bron, and it's called The Paris Opera, or as it was originally released, L'Opera. And he's Swiss, I guess. It's a Swiss finance film about the Paris Opera, who the Paris Opera maintains operatic performances as well as ballet. And I was really looking forward to watching this because the trailer was so cool. But I think the trailer showed most of the best parts of the film. And they even do that with documentaries, apparently. And I guess what I found sort of lacking in the film was it didn't really have a structure. Like, I was expecting to see the season open, the season end. And I think that's kind of what happened. But it was presented in such a way that I didn't feel the passage of time. So it could have been one day, it could have been the whole season. I couldn't feel it the way it was put together. There was no like main person to follow. It sort of follows the director of the overall opera as well as one new member of the, I think it's some sort of training program that they have, but they didn't really explain that either. So they're, he just started, but like you don't really know what he signed up for. And at one point you find out he's going to be there for 2 years. So it's some sort of training thing so that he'll eventually maybe be a member of the opera. I'm not really sure. They also showed this school program that they do that was a 3-year-long program, and this was the last year for this group of kids, and they showed sort of them having their final presentation and crying because it was over. They did have the scene in the trailer that I really liked, which was with the bull getting Schopenhauer played at him. That lived up to its what it was expected. But actually, pretty much everything that was in the trailer with the bull is what's in the movie. So that I thought there would be more with that. I did like that it showed that there are so many kinds of jobs to keep the opera going, from the director all the way down to the people that run the costumes for costume changes, the people that hand the Kleenex to the leads so they can get the sweat off their back before they run back out into the stage, to the people who press all of the costumes, to the woman who is seen throughout the opera cleaning everything from the director's office to the escalator. She's just keeping that building clean. What it really did show was how quite and very white the opera is, except that most of the kids that were in this program were of color, and that perhaps that shows that the future is moving towards a less white opera. I'm not sure. They didn't really make that a thing. They sort of showed a little bit of how they try to keep operating with government pressure and with union pressure, and with the fact that France can have completely, entirely countrywide shutdowns, strikes. The one sequence that I think was the best sequence in the whole film, and I really loved it, was they show a ballerina as she's getting ready, as she goes out, as she dances, and then as she comes off, and she's just dead. She's so tired. She's sitting there. She's breathing like you would expect a sprinter or somebody after they've run a marathon to just heavy breathing. Not a sprinter, but like a sprinter, because marathon is different. But like after a sprint, she's all this heavy breathing because it's such an athletic thing that she just did. And it was so beautiful and looked effortless, but she's like, and it was like, that was so great to see sort of the magic and then the real work behind it. I wish the whole thing I think that's what the documentary was trying to do, was show the magic and the work behind it, but mostly you just got the work behind it, not a lot of the magic either. I also liked a section where the opera director was basically saying, we're elitist and our tickets are too expensive and we need to figure out how to get more people to be able to afford to come. I thought that was a good look at the economics of art. But overall, I don't know that the film had a theme. I don't know that it had a structure that really worked, other than everything is chaos, and maybe that was the point, is that everything in an opera house is chaos. I'm not sure. I've seen a lot of documentaries this year, and I felt like this was one of the weaker in terms of structure. Because then when it ended, I was like, wait, what? But not in a good way, not in a like, I want more. It was more like, but you didn't tell a complete story, I'm confused kind of way. So this was the Paris Opera. It's directed by Jean-Stéphane Bron, and it is in theaters right now, and you can check it out if it's playing near you. Um, I will say that the opera that you do get to hear is lovely, and listening to that makes me wish that I went to more opera. I don't even know if I've ever actually been to a live opera, to be honest. But maybe next year I'll go to an opera for real. Here in Atlanta, we have an opera, I think. I don't know. I know we have a symphony or an orchestra or something. I gotta find an opera. Someone invite me to your opera. Okay. Invite me to the Paris Opera. It's 150 euros on the cheap end, I think. So that's a lot. That's a lot. That's more than the Pordenone Film Festival costs for the entire 8 days for one opera. So just that's the economics of opera. This was the Paris Opera. It's from 2017. I'm sort of waffling on it. There are some sequences that are fantastic.